Hello and welcome to Good Morning Thailand. I'm Jay.
And I'm Alex.
And today we'll be talking about tragic violence amongst foreign tourists, the TSPCA's clash with PETA over Mudeng, and a little later, a Malaysian couple who has mysteriously vanished in transit. Now, our first story today is regarding Thailand mourns a tragic school bus fire claiming multiple young lives. Now, a tragic school bus fire in Pathum Thani claimed the lives of over 20 students and teachers, with bodies found near the back of the bus. The incident occurred while 38 students and 6 teachers were en route to a learning center. The fire was likely caused by a tire explosion and contact with a barrier, causing panic as the bus filled with smoke. While some escaped, others were trapped. Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra expressed deep sorrow and visited the victims. The government is covering medical expenses and compensating the families. Obviously, this story shocking all of Thailand, and it's one of those incidents where everyone is coming together and obviously sharing their their concerns.
An interesting note about this story is that the bus driver fled the scene after it all went down. So now there's questions about, was this gross negligence? Who's really to blame for this situation? Was it really just a tragic accident that was unavoidable? That doesn't seem like it would be the case, considering there was such grievous loss of life over a pretty, just a tire popped and they, that can happen, but usually it doesn't just completely burst into flames.
There's a lot of speculation going on out there, guys. I would just advise, please just wait for all the information and then the investigations to complete. When a situation like this happens, especially involving little kids from kindergarten, obviously there's a lot of thoughts and sorrow and sadness and anger sometimes that goes out there. So stay tuned. We will be giving you updates about those stories.
Yeah, as the answers come, we'll get to them. Well, anyways, that's not the only tragedy, unfortunately, we're going to be talking about today, as a British tourist has been charged after fatally punching his friend in Pattaya. A 58-year-old Australian man tragically died after a British friend, only 29, delivered a fatal punch during a drunken argument outside a Pattaya hotel on September 27th. The punch caused the Australian to hit his head on the pavement. Despite efforts from medics, he was pronounced dead at the hospital. Pattaya police have video footage and witness testimony confirming the incident. The British suspect denies the charges and awaits legal proceedings, while authorities are awaiting autopsy results to determine if the victim was also intoxicated. The motive for the altercation remains unclear. This is why it's always big news in Australia. This is a big wave of public propaganda, basically trying to say, they called it the king hit back in the day. Now they call it a coward's punch, because all it takes is one punch and then a person's on the ground, smacks their head. And that's how fragile the human body can be. That's all it takes. So no excuses, right?
It's not worth it, guys. Don't do it.
And unfortunately, it's not the only kind of story that we've told in this kind of regard. So,
and it's always in the heat of the moment, and obviously that person might have not, obviously meant to end someone's life, but you're still responsible for that. So he's going to have to pay for it.
Absolutely, and time will tell what exactly the punishments will be. He's denying the charges, but I mean, there's video and witness testimony about this whole thing. We'll see how it plays out.
All right, we're going to move on to our next story, which is regarding some more unfortunate news. Bad weather impacts expected influx of Chinese tourists to Thailand. Now, Thailand's expected influx of Chinese tourists during the Chinese National Day holiday is likely to fall short due to bad weather, fluctuating flight prices, and changing travel behaviors. Thai hotel operators had hoped for a surge in visitors from October 1st to the 7th, but adjustments and delays by Chinese tour companies have affected travel plans. While the number of free individual travelers is increasing, natural disasters remain a key concern despite no cancellations. Postponed or adjusted plans are impacting the expected tourist arrivals. Hotel operators are adapting to accommodate these changes. Now, bad news for the Thai tourism economy.
Yeah, indeed. It is the Chinese national holiday. Happy Chinese national holiday, everybody in China. But yeah, this is the news has been a little scary lately with the landslides and things like that have happened in Phuket and around the nation. So that has been affecting things. Not only that, the Thai baht has increased in strength, so the spending power of tourists
extremely strong right now.
So that really affects the spending power of tourists, which makes other places in the region more attractive. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the impact lasts much longer. Like when you do see, videos of landslides and heavy rain and flooding. Yes, this is all real news. People cancel their plans, but then they're gone for quite a bit because they're like, I'm not just going to wait until right after the disaster. I'm going to give it more time. Yeah. So the economy, people, tourism suffers for much longer.
Yeah, I don't know. Sad, but we are heading into high season, so we'll see if we're able to recover from there.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's not the only strange travel news that we have going on, especially at the Phuket airport. Where a drunk Australian tourist has been subdued by Phuket police at the international terminal. Now, an intoxicated Australian tourist caused a commotion at Phuket International Airport. This was a little while ago on September 22nd after being refused more alcohol at a bar. The situation escalated as he harassed other passengers, prompting armed police to intervene. Dramatic footage shows officers tackling and subduing the rowdy tourist who was eventually handcuffed and detained in an airport cell to sober up. The incident caused the man to miss his flight and rebook another. Get out of here. Phuket airport officials confirmed the tourist was detained until he regained composure, bringing an embarrassing end to his trip. Well, how many Thai police does it take to take out one drunk Australian?
But Thai police are extremely patient. For looking at that video means he must have really been rowdy and kind of causing a scene.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, what do you mean you can't give me I'll tell you when I'm done. Like, I don't know. It was probably a good idea not to serve him anymore, but then there's nothing that angers a drunk person more than being refused what they want.
That's true.
Ugh,
I think it's a bit maybe harder to tell as well while they're on ground and just sitting in a place, like how many they've had. Normally it's when you stand you realize, whoa. Anyways, he found out the hard way.
I'm glad that this happened at the terminal and not on the plane.
Yes, absolutely.
Might have been funnier footage, but at the end of the day, more dangerous situation. So, anyways, he's sobered up and gone. So, good news for Thailand.
All right, we're going to move on to our next story, which is regarding a bill liberalizing alcohol rules in Thailand is set to be voted on. Great news for people who love alcohol. Thailand's parliament is set to vote today on the controversial progressive liquor bill proposed by the opposition People's Party. The bill, a key election promise from the former Future Forward Party, seeks to liberalize Thailand's alcohol market, allowing individuals to brew liquor or beer for personal use. The bill faces opposition from the ruling PETA party and coalition partners, citing public health concerns. Supporters argue it would break the oligopoly controlling the market and benefits grassroots procedures. Today's vote will decide if the bill advances, potentially reshaping Thailand's alcohol industry for the future.
Yeah, this is a big deal because right now it's basically two companies. There's your oligopoly right there. It's just Chang and Sing, basically, that control the entire beer market, and then that doesn't allow, local Thai craft brewers to be able to be competitive and things like that.
But the news seems to say that it's for home brewing.
Right, home brewing. I mean, small batches, people that would be able to make it for themselves and then sell it to restaurants or be local suppliers and things like that.
So not like brew at home and drink it myself.
Yeah, also that. So you can't do that right now even.
I'm asking because the PETA parties that's against this bill is saying that safety concerns, as in, hey, Alex, I know you're very passionate about brewing your own beer at home, but it might not just be hygienic or right for your health.
Look, this is, dude, we've been brewing beer as a species for thousands of years. People can figure it out, and it works in all sorts of other, it works in all sorts of other markets. Like in America, it's been since the 70s that we've allowed this kind of stuff to happen.
Yeah.
And really, my theory is that there's a lot of money involved wanting to keep this politics the same, keeping the status quo so that their grip on the market isn't affected by new businesses entering the market. So yes, home brewing, but also small breweries, which would be subject to regulations still. There's still safety standards in place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I like a good craft beer. And don't get me wrong, I'll take a cold Sing or a cold Chang any day, but a little variety would be nice. I don't know, personally.
True. The craft beer is really good. Thailand does craft beer really well.
Yeah. And it should be cheaper and more widely available, in this humble opinion over here. Anyways, let's move on to our... We've been talking about this controversy. PETA has been rearing its ugly head in the case of Mudeng.
Oh, no.
Oh, now the TSPCA is clashing with PETA over treatment of the beloved pygmy hippo. So, the Thai Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or TSPCA, has defended Khao Khao Open Zoo against PETA's claims of animal abuse regarding the zoo's popular pygmy hippo, Mudeng. PETA criticized the zoo for keeping Mudeng in captivity, advocating for her relocation to a wildlife sanctuary. However, TSPCA contended that PETA's information was outdated and incomplete, emphasizing that the zoo adheres to international care standards. While some Thais expressed support for the zoo, TSPCA called for respectful dialogue and reassured that Mudeng's care meet global standards.
PETA.
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 Yeah, we did a story about PETA making these claims yesterday, and people in the comments were none too pleased.
Did PETA only want to relocate Mudeng and not the other hippos? That's convenient.
The whole point of this is that it's an endangered species, right? It's not faring well in the wild. So these are conservation efforts, and Mudeng is raising tons of money to help the zoo in those efforts, which I think are admirable.
Wonder what PETA has to gain from this.
I mean, they're constantly out there shouting about this kind of stuff. And
how is the animal being abused? As in, it's in captivity. That's abuse.
Yes. So the captivity in and of itself is abuse, even though in the wild they are dying out. So I'm not really sure what the end game is here for them, because human activity is already causing a lot of problems for the population. But like I always say, PETA might be well intentioned. But at the end of the day, man, they do not win a whole lot of people to their side with their tactics, I should say.
Oh, well.
Anyways.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to some stories from across ASEAN, starting first with Malaysia, as Malaysia plans cloud policy and AI regulations amid tech boom. Malaysia is set to introduce a national cloud policy and AI regulations focusing on public service innovation, economic growth, data security, and digital inclusivity. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim announced plans for a national AI office and a 5-year technology action plan to promote ethical AI use. This move aligns with a surge of tech investments in Malaysia, including Google's new $2 billion data center expected to create 26,500 jobs. Google's investment is part of a broader effort by tech firms to expand in Southeast Asia, where cloud and AI demand is rising.
Yeah, this is the new, so this is why, the Chinese industry boom was massive, right?
Yeah.
But in the tech industry, it's it's persona non grata. Like Google's not allowed there, Meta's not allowed there, right? All of these major companies are not allowed to operate in China. So where are we going? We're going to Southeast Asia, places like Malaysia, where they're opening up massive centers, creating tens of thousands of jobs, which highlights the need for regulation to figure out exactly how this is going to unfold, all of this massive amounts of investment. But I don't know. AI regulation. What's your take? I'm waiting for somebody to create fake AI versions of us.
I know. AI is taking over. Eventually, it's just going to be me and you controlling. Except with puppeteering, it's going to be more like forward.
Yeah.
On a screen somewhere.
Are we real right now?
AI Alex is not smiling enough.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Bring up the cheer a little bit. But brave new world we're entering.
Imagine that. Well, hopefully I can make myself look a lot more pleasing. You already look well.
Thank
but
you.
Even in 50 years, we're like old men just controlling us, but just look the same.
Oh, yeah, dude.
It's like, damn, these Alex and Shane just never age.
We were having some fun with Photoshop.
Asians.
Yesterday, one of our editors over here, Hot, he was in a photo shoot with me for Grab.
Oh, yeah, he showed it to me.
It was hilarious. So like they just like make a better body. Like was the AI direction for hot or something like that. Like we were trying to change how he looked, and it gave him a woman's body right away. It was quite a sight. I love.
And his name is Hot.
Yes, Hot became hotter.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Well, that's not our only story out of Malaysia, because this one's a weird one that actually transits us through Bangkok.
Okay.
Now, a Malaysian couple has mysteriously vanished after a Bangkok layover. So, a young Malaysian couple, 21-year-old Wu Ming Son and his 23-year-old girlfriend Wu Ying Ying, has mysteriously vanished after a layover in Bangkok in early September. Ming Son informed his mother he was heading to the UK for a job, while Ying Ying told her family that she was traveling to Spain. Their last contact was on September 8th. With no updates since. Both families are desperate for information, but police initially refused to file a missing persons report due to a lack of evidence. I mean, isn't that the whole point?
Yeah.
Reports have now been lodged, but no significant developments have been made. Families are appealing for help. This is scary. And
yeah.
You know, when you're traveling abroad, right? Your family, these are young kids, 21, 23. You're already nervous for them, and then all of a sudden you're not getting any updates, and now the police are like, sorry, not enough evidence. Like, what do we? That's the whole point, isn't it? Right? There's no social media activity, there's nothing like that. So you would think they would spring into action a little bit quicker, but Malaysian authorities have a problem with actually springing into action historically. So we'll see how that plays out. Poor couple, hope they're okay.
All right. We'll move on to some of our last stories. Now moving to Singapore, as Singapore tightens scrutiny as Chinese wealth pours in via family offices. Singapore is tightening its regulations on family offices to ensure wealth entering the country, particularly from China, is legitimate. The Monetary Authority of Singapore is enlisting external firms like EY to thoroughly vet high net worth individuals for potential ties to financial crimes. This follows a massive money laundering case involving the Fujian gang, which tarnished Singapore's reputation as a wealth hub. Despite added scrutiny, Singapore remains a popular destination for wealthy Chinese due to cultural ties. Though some are exploring alternatives like Hong Kong, the government aims to balance robust regulation with a business-friendly environment. Singapore, I think, still a place to go, still a place to be, no?
Yeah, I'll be going there later this month, but I mean, you know, this is a thing, like shady financial dealings in these financial hubs, right, where there's so much money passing through. Sometimes some of these gangs get involved, and money laundering is a thing. So it is important for Singapore to actually make an example of this and try to hold up like, hey, all right, we are a legitimate place. But at the same time, you got to wonder, like, for every one of these cases that gets held up, how much more is slipping through the cracks from the regulators? Because, it's tons of money, especially coming from places like China, where the system is pretty opaque.
China.
Indeed. Mandalik says, Singapore is a no-corruption country. I'm not sure any place is completely devoid of corruption.
But it does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So it's probably one of the closest things to no corruption. Wasn't there recently a corruption issue?
Yeah, they arrested some high-up officials over there for doing some graft. So, like I said, as long as these stories keep coming out, then you have to think that there is regulation.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have to wonder how much of it is just power plays and things like that. Because it isn't exactly a traditional system. Singapore is kind of running on its own rules over there. So, fascinating to watch. But anyways, we got our last story for you guys today, which is a controversial one coming out of Cambodia.
Okay.
A Cambodian journalist has been charged with incitement after exposing trafficking. A Cambodian investigative journalist, Mech Dara, known for exposing corruption and human trafficking, has been charged with, quote-unquote, inciting social unrest and faces up to 2 years in prison. Authorities claim Dara posted provocative and false messages about quarrying at a sacred site. His arrest drew concern from rights groups and the U.S. government. Dara, previously honored by U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken for exposing scam compounds exploiting trafficked workers, was detained after military police stopped his car. Critics say his arrest undermines press freedom and access to information in Cambodia, where independent media has been heavily suppressed. This is a tough story. I mean, this guy has gotten international recognition for his bravery in journalism, and here it is again. Like, I don't understand. So they're arresting him for incitement because he's exposed terrible things that are happening in the country. That's a catch-22.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the job of journalism, is to sort of shed light on these terrible subjects. So sets a dangerous precedent if somebody's being put in jail for 2 years just for doing, his brave job.
Exactly.
Like, heart goes out to him. Hopefully the Cambodian government rethinks this strategy.
I mean, that's the most difficult part of finding brave people to do something like this, because even when they've escaped the country and they're in another country, they're being rewarded for doing the right thing, they can still get in a lot of trouble for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's his home country. That's where he wants to operate. That's where he wants to expose these stories and hopefully improve his country, right? That's the whole notion behind journalism. But sad day for the state of journalism over there. I don't know. I hope they can reconsider that.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. Being an actual journalist, unlike us, is a very difficult job. And, we'd all be worse off without
Are we
them.
journalists?
No.
Definitely not.
No, that's what I mean. They are braver than I am.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Those were some of the stories from across Thailand and ASEAN. You can find more stories on thetiger.com. And if you'd like to get involved in the conversation, we have a forum called ASEAN Now. Where can they find that, Alex?
ASEANnow.com.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's that simple?
It is. Who knew?
ASEANnow.com.
Check the logos.
Yeah.
There we go.
ASEANnow.com to get into the conversation. For now, we'll just dive into the live chat to have a quick conversation with the people.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Here we go. Mandalikas Rao, good morning to you, good sir.
Good morning, guys.
Anil, fat